Hi, this is William Jackson. Welcome to My Quest to Teach podcast. And this podcast is entitled Sparks of Life in Our Children. And this focuses on the unfortunate occurrences of several young ladies that have committed suicide as the result of bullying. There's been several instances nationally and internationally where unfortunately young ladies have committed suicide. They've taken their lives because of actions or things that they've taken part of, and the ending result for them was constant bullying, constant cyberbullying, constant harassment from their peers. And just focusing on that aspect in relation to the importance of all young people, and that all young people provide a spark of life that all of us, particularly as parents, should appreciate. So in dedication to the young people that had been exposed to bullying and mistreatment and harassment, I wrote this blog called Sparks of Life in Our Children. A national issue is the safety and security of children, not just in homes, not just in communities, but in the unlikely of places to be worried about a child's safety in schools. Schools are supposed to be safe zones, a demilitarized zone of nonviolence and peace. There are over millions of students attending schools across this nation. All are sparks of life. Each spark that resides in a child is valuable beyond measure. Too many of these sparks are being bullied, harassed. Too many are physically beaten, emotionally scarred, stalked either physically or through cyberspace. The disturbing travesty is sparks are dying. Their life sparks are flickering into oblivion from the violence that is seemingly increasing in society and embedding in schools. A child's spark should be bright as our sun, sparks of sunshine and light for our world. A child's spark of life should be brighter than the light from stars in deep space. Sparks are being bullied, sexually assaulted, harassed. This is happening with disturbing frequency in our schools. News media and social media are reporting from California, Connecticut, Florida, Georgia, and other states. Cities such as Detroit, Chicago, Jacksonville, Brunswick, and other cities across this nation. No one is immune to violence that was once only thought of in the movies. Educators are participating in professional development workshops that will require them to potentially carry firearms. Participating in self-defense classes, educators are preparing to protect themselves and their students in their classrooms from potential violence. Trainings in the prevention of sexual assault of students, and even emergency triage. Educators and administrators are not and should not be trained to handle violence from sexual assault, potential use of firearms, and other societal issues that are beyond the scope of teaching. Teaching the sparks of life in the students in our schools. The actions of students are a reflection of the lack of parental accountability and responsibility for raising children. Parents knowingly or unknowingly are allowing the spirit of violence to enter into their homes for their children to see. It can be witnessed through television, movies, video games, and even play that engages children and glorifies violence and violent behaviors. In recent months, there have been several suicides and attempted suicides from students that were bullied. In Jacksonville, Florida, a bullying incident was so vicious and coordinated, a young girl was lured off a school campus and beaten so violently she suffered cranial damage. From being hit in the head multiple times, she had a skull fracture and concussion. Students committing bullying actions are thought of as so dangerous that they are being banned from schools and school districts. Judges believe they have an obligation, morally and legally, to do what they can to make schools safe. Has the violence in schools come to the point where teachers and administrators need to be armed? As parents, are parents allowing their children to be immoral, unethical, insensitive, and violent that court judges have to intervene for students' safety in schools by completely banning students from schools? Judge Henry Davis of Jacksonville, Florida, has stated that children ought to be able to go to school and feel safe. They should not have to worry about being beaten up, given physical injuries, permanent injuries in their schools. Is it time for JCCI Forward to conduct a thorough study of violence in schools to get a real picture of why parents need to be held accountable for their children? The schools belong to everyone, not just one person or one group of people. If youth are this violent, why are parents of these children not held accountable and responsible also? Maybe judges need to split prison sentences between youth offenders and their parents to get their parents to understand they are not doing their jobs as parents. The use of social media platforms like Facebook creates an area where teens are threatening each other, cyberbullying and harassing each other. New terms such as serial bully represent students that enjoy the title of bully, using smartphones to record their fights as a testament to their viciousness to others. The actions of students bullying questions parental skills of parents that either are in denial of their children's actions or they are actually encouraging their children to be bullies. In a short time frame, other accusations and arrests from reported crimes across the nation. Report of possible sexual assault at middle schools has parents and communities worried about the safety of their girls. Across this country, California, where 3 teenage boys are facing charges of sexual battery in connection with the alleged sexual assault of a girl who, as a result, committed suicide because she was bullied and harassed by her peers. Events in Ohio and California are added indications that a child's spark is not valued. Even in Canada, there is great concern for the actions of youth. The attempted suicide of a young girl hanging herself and was eventually taken off of life support. These are the events that parents fear, that school teachers and administrators cringe when they hear about such incidents happening to young people. Even after the alleged assault, pictures of the alleged youth were circulated to other teenagers using digital tools and social media, prompting relentless torment by the young lady's peers, and that resulted in a steady decline of the young lady's mental health. Another spark extinguished. Statements from the Prime Minister in Canada, Stephen Harper. I think we've got to stop just the term bullying to describe some of these things. Bullying to me has a connotation of a kind of kid misbehaving, far from the truth. What are we dealing with in some of these circumstances is simply criminal activity, Mr. Harper says. It is youth criminal activity. It is violent criminal activity. It is sexual criminal activity, and it is often internet criminal activity. The actions in our schools are a constant reminder of the turmoil in homes and communities across this nation. Statistics from Department of Juvenile Justice, Center for Disease Control, and Department of Education have emphasized the importance and involvement and engagement and participation of parents. Parents need to be active in schools, knowledgeable of their children's activities and mental and emotional mindsets. Maybe the sexual assault and bullying actions would not happen in our schools if parents were more active and involved. One spark of a child is the residue of the union of a man and a woman that should be nurtured with love and responsibility. Parental responsibility and accountability are for the life of that child or children. If violent actions continue in communities and homes, children's sparks will flicker from uncertainty about their safety, slowly diminish from the stress of bullying, harassment, and death. Schools and churches should be a safe zone for all children, where they can have refuge, protection, safety from the violence and sins of the world. How many sparks will be extinguished before parents understand their moral, legal, and ethical obligations to their children? Parents complain about the justice system. They complain about government interference in raising their children. They complain about schools not educating. Parents need to look in the mirror and evaluate what they have done. How have they acted? If they are involved in their children's lives, do they know who their children's friends are? Do they know what they access on the internet? Do they know what kind of pictures and video they have on their phones? Are they sexting? Are they cyberbullying? Are they harassing? It is not the responsibility of schools to teach morality and ethical actions by children. Parents created their sparks, so must make sure they care for their sparks as parents, or the prisons, mental institutions, and cold graves and cemeteries of the earth will. Thank you.